Welcome to Headline to Heartline. In palaces, titles can be lifted for cause, and small lies can turn a whole household upside down. This episode matters because we have written evidence, not rumor. In a 2011 email, Jeffrey Epstein states that Sarah Ferguson was the first to celebrate his 2009 release from jail, and that she came with her daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. The wording is unmistakable. A celebration with her girls in tow shortly after he walked out of custody. That document exists. It is the anchor of the story. People close to Sarah and the sisters now say the visit never happened and that the princesses never met Epstein. But the email puts a concrete claim on the record and creates a direct conflict between a paper trail and a public denial. Here's the necessary context for why Epstein was in jail then and why he was released. In 2008, after state and federal investigations into sexual abuse of minors, Epstein pleaded guilty in Florida state court to soliciting a minor for prostitution. He received a short state sentence, about 13 months, under a controversial non-prosecution agreement that spared him federal charges at the time and allowed unusually lenient work release. In the summer of 2009, when he finished that sentence, he left jail a registered sex offender with widely known allegations around him. That is the moment the email describes as a celebration. The money piece matters too. The same set of messages indicates that Epstein had financially helped Sarah and that she asked for more, reportedly up to $100,000, when she was struggling with debts. And just weeks after a 2011 interview in which she said she would have nothing to do with him, a separate email from that year shows her praising him warmly, a contradiction that cost her several charity roles when it emerged last month. Put plainly, the private record keeps cutting against her public assurances. Now, about the daughters and the ages that sharpen the discomfort. In 2009, Beatrice was 20 and Eugenie was 19, old enough to understand headlines, young enough to be placed in harm's vicinity by a parent's choices. If the visit happened, bringing two young women into the orbit of a recently convicted sexual offender reads as reckless, not naive. The world already knew what he had done. If it did not happen, then Sarah's credibility is still in crisis because her words keep shifting while the emails sit there, fixed. My own reaction is blunt. This is the kind of escalation that shows us the worst in people. It feels like watching reputation peel in strips. Some of you will use harsher language for the men at the center, and I understand why. Epstein was a predator who targeted girls and young women. Years later, he was arrested again on federal sex trafficking charges, and he died in jail before trial. Survivors have spent years naming what he did to them, and those accounts changed the public's understanding of the whole circle that enabled him. Virginia Giuffre, whose allegations against Epstein and Prince Andrew became a global touchpoint, died this year, a devastating loss for many who saw her as a frontline truth-teller. I won't pretend detachment here. Celebrating the release of a man known for preying on young women is morally grotesque. And bringing your own daughters to that moment, if that is what happened, makes the picture even harder to look at. So what was Sarah thinking? Intent is the hardest thing to prove and the easiest thing to feel. Was it about money, proximity to power, or a stubborn refusal to accept what was already public record? Whatever the reason, it was irresponsible. When a parent aligns with a known abuser, even for appearances, it puts the next generation in the blast radius, if not physically, then reputationally. The sisters did not choose their mother's friends, but they bear the questions in rooms they enter for the rest of their lives. That's how reputation works in our lives. It travels faster than explanations and lingers longer than apologies. If you're finding this useful, please like and subscribe. It truly helps the show. Then let's keep going. There is also the institutional fallout. On October 17th, Prince Andrew announced he will stop using his titles and honors, an acknowledgement that the persistent accusations and the company he kept have become intolerable for the monarchy's day-to-day work. Sarah is now expected to use her name rather than the Duchess of York title in professional life. Beatrice and Eugenie's titles remain unchanged, and there are no new criminal allegations about them in these reports. But titles are signals, and these signals are clear. Judgment has consequences. I have said from the start that this story is climbing the stairs, and I think more doors will open. The core facts already justify strong conclusions. Epstein's crimes were not secrets in 2009. His email is a contemporaneous statement placing Sarah and her daughters at a moment no decent person would celebrate. Sarah's later messages contradict her public posture. In my view, that is lying in practice, whether or not it meets a courtroom definition. And it is a betrayal of the basic duty adults owe to the young people who look to them for safety. The deeper lesson is simple and old enough for all of us to recognize. Reputation is the compound interest of integrity. You make deposits with hard choices that cost you something. You empty the account with one grand act of self-excusing proximity to harm. You cannot refill it with clever statements. You refill it by aligning your private choices with your public words, again and again, especially when no one is applauding. Thank you for being here with me. Please subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I'll see you next time. In palaces, as in ordinary homes, titles can be lifted for cause, and even a small lie can stir a draft that rattles every door.